Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Clan Showdown June Qualifier 2. We are already in the round of 8, and we're gonna hop directly into the match in between Tilt against Toby. And as you can see, map being played is Fisherman's Bay, if you couldn't tell by the 10-2-7-9s that Toby is gonna bring already. Triple Chieftain to back that up, together with one CS and an EBR. And 3 seconds until we'll be able to tell what Tilt is going to bring.
Yeah, I mean, Tilt with a bit of a disappointing performance, getting kicked out 3-0 in the finals of the first qualifier. So
I
I
think
guess
both of
they,
those teams in the first qualifier got kicked out by the same team
yeah,
called Copium, right?
exactly. So I hope they had a good doses today, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what they can bring.
All right, so Tilt once again bringing Bunter in the Jagdpanzer E100. Then we have Sem in the EBR. And once again, we see them not really leaning heavily onto those 279s, but instead bringing a lot more chieftains. But yeah, in the end, same amount of heavy tanks. The deciding difference is just CS for Jagdpanzer, and then obviously one EBR per side. And we do see for Tilt that not every 279 is, or actually every 279 is going to get sent towards the middle. For for Toby, that's not the case. We can see Sem and Brainbreaker exchanging spots here. So far, Sem not really taking damage, and I think he's going to
I think
cross too low to actually get punished by
exactly.
Brainbreaker.
Brainbreaker was aiming for him, but I'm not sure if he really likes the position he will be in soon, because the 279s are kind of closing in the angles. And if he gets spotted there, he might get tagged by ASDE.
Oh, Immensive already pushing with the 279. Same for Puppies. So Tilt immediately going for the engagement, but they may have bitten off more than they can chew here, as there's a lot of 279s here by the side of Toby that are also taking damage now. A push going on sort of in the outskirts of the city here, but mostly it is about that 279 engagement that Tilt is pulling off.
Yeah, you can see Bunter just threw in a good shot from the back with his Jagdpanzer E100. Obviously, those HP are out of the fight, but overall the HP is quite in favor of the defending team of Shield here. So, good aggressive move so far, and we will have to see how this repush is going.
Yeah, repush now coming out by Toby, but Charber, the one to hit the dust here, but Puppy and Killerpit, both of them on one shot right now. Killerpit actually getting claimed here. Puppy, the next one to fall, and the gun department is starting to favor Toby here, or Pegasus as you call them, but the HP is still firmly in favor of Tilt. Keep in mind though, those 2k HP by Bunter are not participating in the fight right now, and I don't think either side has the resources right now to overpush the middle. This is why Toby is now sending tanks towards the city, where there's double chieftain, actually triple chieftain still remaining. Barbarian coming from the side with the CS trying to chip in with his DPM, and indeed Radio Promet falling, and Padja now down to a 2-shot. Barbarian not rolling him, but he should be falling soon, and now only Unique remaining. But meanwhile, on the middle, I guess that is Tilt heavily winning there, and then they will have 279s basically above the enemy. It's going to be very hard to pen them.
Yeah, one thing that I really have to question is there were only 3 tanks positioned in this E8 position, and they used like 3 chieftains and 2 279s and the CS to push onto them. So yeah, the result of that is kind of what we see right now. They had to really fall back with the remaining 279s in the middle, and as you mentioned, the HP advantage of Tilt and having the higher ground here might become a big problem, especially if those 279s here, Spiele, Pika, all on the higher ground having really good shots.
Yeah, and Dandly Boing, you can see him on the outskirts there. He is also going to provide side shots if Bacchus tries to flank over the left. That is why they aren't able to kill Stepbro Infinity currently, because they just cannot create the angles. However, Barbarian with a very nice move over the flank. He's going to have side shots there from the A line. He needs to be careful though. There is an EBR position there, and if he gets spotted, the Jagdpanzer will be able to clap him.
Camera
This
is
is,
doing some funky stuff. Guess I'll
I
just
mean,
stay in the middle. But yeah, the EBR is now moving forward towards Barbarian, and Frugo just fired, so he will not be able to really support onto Sam. Barbarian drops to 500. He reaches the building now on 150 HP. last shot was missed and he should be safe. But obviously Sam can take onto the
He can
CS
take,
now, and I mean he can easily take a shot,
needs to
finish
take
off
a
the
shot. He can
kill.
even miss his shot probably. And he's coming
But
now.
he
He's going to
doesn't,
pick up
okay.
the
Well,
CS. So that's the crossfire gone, and now Bunter can just come in and sweep away Frugo, possibly even one-shotting him. Oh, Bunter with a bounce onto the 279. Shaky hands there on the side of the, I guess, Swede/Brit.
yeah, I mean, in the end, the Jagdpanzer will be able to just push him into his allied guns, and Silent will be able to think about what went wrong here, why all his teammates are waiting for him in the garage already.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, I would say there is an advantage, a bit at least, for the defending team on Fisherman's Bay. So
it was so
dropping
weird
the
to see,
first
though.
round is not like the end of the world.
It was so weird to see, though, that basically the team with less 279s did push the middle immediately and won.
Well,
Like,
sometimes it is what it is.
true.
I really like your coloring of the announcement.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's purple, or do you think it's
I mean, it has
pink?
a color gradient.
I was trying to bait you.
Okay, that didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 1-0 here in this match in between Toby and Tilt. You can see.
Looks like that was the first score we have so far. So obviously, with 3 tournament brackets running in parallel, we will have a lot of additional results that we can give you an update on. But
Yeah,
Bunter
crazy that this
only
was.
with 1 shot of damage here. Bit of a disappointment.
Honestly, I still think the 1-2-1B is the better choice for playing that.
Yeah, but like, just think about the fun factor.
The fun factor is a pretty big one, but I think the making it past the first match factor is more important. All right, Chess, second result here. Chess, the content team, losing currently against Reddit.
And I put all my channel points there.
Oh no.
The raid
On
was
who?
so good. On Chess.
On Chess,
Yeah,
oh
they
no.
didn't believe in themselves, so I thought maybe I should. Maybe I was wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly in the first game of the match. And how did the damage look the last round? I mean, pretty evenly spread, which is to be expected in shootouts like this.
I mean, you always have some people that are just being focused out first, or the weaker players like Killer Pit.
Are we gonna roast him again today?
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's not qualified.
Mm-hmm. All right, Davey winning against Reloaded Connoisseurs, 1-0 currently as well. And is it like that we can basically judge that both of them won their attack? Because in our defense game that we watched, it's 1-0. Okay.
Yeah.
So both Chess and Reloaded with an uphill battle going from here on out.
In the end, we will just see the results and not see what exactly happened there. Same goes for the All-In versus Slam and the Fired versus Lyric battle. So we can just make assumptions on if it went wrong for them or if it was just strat issue or whatever. So I think there are like some results missing. We will, I guess, cover that after. I think the Nomi versus CSA games. And I think I haven't seen the Trick result either. But yeah, we will cover that when
Good
our
Night
game
Mini
is
1-0 against Weird, and I wasn't able to read the last result.
Dead versus CSA, and CSA was leading 1-0 as well.
Remember, no CSA.
Exactly. Okay. That means we are in for round number 2. This time, no Jagdpanzer E100. What a shame.
Instead, Tilt coming in with 6 279s, a lot of chieftains, and 1 EBR. And for the side of Toby, we see 1 EBR, double 907, 1 CS, double chieftain, and the rest is 279 as well. So once again, Toby heavier in the 279 department, but I would also say with a faster flanking potential with those medium tanks. Obviously, trading heavies for mediums means you are a bit faster with your rotations, but on the other hand, you aren't as sustained in like a shootout, so we'll have to see about that one.
So which lineup do you prefer?
Honestly, for Fisherman's, I like Tilt's lineup more, although I am once again weirded out by the lack of 279s.
Well, maybe they're reshaping what they think should be the meta. And it's interesting to see how they're already preparing for some clockwise
aggressive
rotation.
push, yeah, aggressive push here coming in by the side of Toby through the
Puppy
same
might
side.
get tracked there in the open, but no, he reaches.
He does make
building.
it, but that is a very, very aggressive push here by the side of Toby, and they're bleeding heavily for it. Yes, Pika and Immensive are in the open, and Banter even spotted in his rotation, taking shots in the back lines here. So, yeah, that push, being aggressive as it is, they need to convert into kills with this, and immediately Tilt is reacting, sending chieftains through the 2 and 3 line, but they need to be careful. The double 907 and the CS are still in that 8-2-3 position, so they can cut off the chieftain rotation here if they don't get stopped in their tracks.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind there are 3 tanks here in the bottom that are currently a bit out of the fight, so they have to make sure that they can somehow cover the backs here of Puppy and Immensive, so basically block this shooting by overpeaking. And yeah, you can see Piotr 40k, a couple of shots missed him there already. Now some shots are coming in from the back, so he has to be careful. But the HPs are still in favor of the team in green, and I have to say, so far it's not looking too bad for the Chieftains.
Also, take a look at Radio Primate and Danley. Like, they have cross shots. They are starting to chip away at the 279s in the middle, or rather restricting their movement. That's going to come in very, very handy.
Barbarian is super low already.
Yeah, Sam putting another nice shot into the CS, so he will possibly be able to even pick up a Barbarian, and Brainbreaker is also a one-shot. So the A1-2 positions, while there are a lot of tanks in 8 white, it will be possibly very easy to clean them up for the team in green.
Yeah, that will be very important now, especially considering that the middle area is not 100% safe from cross shots. You mentioned it, like Danley there and Radio Primate. They're trying to put in shots into the backs of Reaction. Interesting to see that those players that were already playing in previous tournaments in the same teams are now split apart and fighting on different sides of the map. Dandy taking 900 damage, and even though Mirek and Never are spotted now, that should definitely give them an advantage in holding this side of the map.
The thing is, though, 1-2 line is stagnant, middle is stagnant, but in the city, it's actually the team of Tilt pushing here, and once they reach the outskirts in the north, then they will actually be able to put Crossfire into the 279s of Toby that are in the middle, and also, yeah, who was it? Brainbreaker Kokos also falling. So that is a problem that Toby now needs to deal with, that they are basically being crossfired from 1-2 and from 9-0, or rather 7-8 line. Bunter, the next one to follow.
Yeah, and you can see here Unique and his buddies coming from the city are providing good crossfire. The guns are still even. 3 tanks down, now 4 tanks down for Toby. But overall, I feel like the positions, they're so encroached, getting shot from all the angles, and it will be very hard to hold that defensive stance here.
I mean, Jacob now trying to force Joker off the angle. He does take a shot for his troubles. And now Unique coming in here. Both of them will possibly be able to push Jacob, but CFR from the middle able to put in one shot into Unique.
So obviously they don't know that, but if there's a situation where...
I mean, Jacob can control the engagement here, so he doesn't really care about being Amaranth.
Yeah, thanks for the raid, Piotr. In 10 minutes.
Pog you? Pog Championship. And interesting stuff also in the middle now. There is 279s getting rotated off the 5 line into the 6 line. where they probably want to create different crossfire angles on the 279s that Toby has. 5 minutes still to work here for Tilt, that are still up 2k roughly, and the Chieftains from the 1-2 getting rotated out for Tilt as well.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to pick up Yaya's, but so far only one shot. Yeah, now the second shot came in. But I have to say they paid quite heavily for it. Immensive lost 2 or 3 shots of HP. Killer Pit obviously always generous with his HPs, so down to 700. And now the HPs are very close again, and you can see the gun advantage isn't that detrimental that you would say it's completely over yet.
Also, like the push that was going on in the city sort of stopped dead in its tracks. There is double chieftain in the backlines that could still go support, but they would get crossfired. So Jacob taking another one. So Jacob is actually the one that needs to keep his HP. Like that is going to be the crucial step moving forward.
I think Silent now will try to put in one more into Step Pro Infinity, and that's it for him. So now you can see we have 5 heavies and 3 mediums left on the side of Pegasus Tovi, and all those heavy tanks plus 1 EBR, so 10 heavies and an EBR. That obviously gives you also like a lot of brawling power with those heavy tank guns charging in. Still, the game is pretty close. I don't want to say even because we have a tank and HP advantage for Pegasus, but the time is ticking.
Tick-tack, Zeit ist knapp, as we like to say in Germany. And Sam is now sort of scouting out the 1-2 line here for Tilt. Obviously, they need to make something happen. But why send the EBR there if you're actually retreating your chieftains to put them somewhere else? Like,
well, maybe just to see if there's a counter rotation happening or something like that. Anyway, you can see there are chieftains moving in the south, so joining the forces in the east and trying to potentially overpush what could be a bit of a trap here, because Mirek and Bacchus just relocated towards the 8-9 line as well. Never is spotted, but he was there already for quite some time. And it looks like the first push is coming in the city area. Puppy there, first one to fall. So far, the HPs are looking pretty okay for the defending team here. Tilt now even in HP. Obviously, there are more tanks coming in, but very good crossfire being applied. And I have to say, the second push coming in the city might be a bit too late.
Yeah, the problem is that now in the middle, Tilt only have like 1 shots remaining. The only one that is a 2-shot is Step Bro Infinity. Killer Pit probably the next one to fall. And the problem here is that the push was so disjointed that basically first they were, Toby that is, they were able to farm the tanks pushing in middle, and then they got ready and farmed people pushing in city. So that's why we see Spiele probably going to fall to Never. There we go. And yeah, Tilt still have the numbers in the middle, but they don't have the HP. Floki and CFR, though, both on 1-shot as well. Buck is probably able to provide crossfire with his 907. Needs to be careful not to get spotted by the EBR or to punish the EBR for spotting him. And yeah,
good
Step
shot
Bro
by
gonna come
Floki.
now. Ooh. Buck is with another shot into the side of Step Bro Infinity, but in the end, it's a 4v4, and the HP are heavily favoring Toby.
Yeah, and obviously the time is working in their favor. It's 70 seconds left, and I have to say, even though that was a bit of a 10-minute back and forth, it was not really a campy game. Both teams tried to approach different things. We had some fighting at C1, then the middle push is coming. But yeah, this disjointed push, as you already called it out, was a big problem because Mirek and Sir Jacob, also good teamwork here, were first able to put in shots into the middle push, and then when they got pushed themselves, they were reloaded again and could immediately react. So good stuff here coming in from both teams, but the tilt push in the end not good enough.
Yeah, I think the timing was slightly off. Like, you need to push at the same time middle and city to be able to overwhelm the enemy. Oh, Sam with a nice shot onto Bacchus in the 907, but does get spotted for it. Needs to be careful not to get killed here, but yeah, 20 seconds left. So I guess both teams know what the outcome of this game is going to be. So yeah, just waiting until it finishes. I guess to not get killed by anyone anymore. They want to save on that repair cost, I guess.
I mean, also for the KDA.
The KDA, right. The most important metric in World of Tanks.
Also, I mean, if you don't drop it, you keep your weapon.
Yeah,
So for the
true.
next round, that you don't have to
I mean,
recently push it.
since World of Tanks 1.6, you don't have to rebuy ammo anymore. I mean, wait, what? Anyway,
maybe also for the crew XP.
the crew XP, right. I'm only signing up to clan showdown tournaments to basically level up my observer crew.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, not your crew
5K
XP,
on both
but...
time. 5K done being on both. 5K being dealt on both teams, by the way. Stepbro Infinity and Sir Jacob.
Yeah, I would really like to point out Sam here. Like, this is a really good performance. 3.6k damage with 3.2k spotting. And so you can see he has a good amount of enemies spotted on both flanks. So really well done.
Also, other results. Stevie winning 2-0 against Reloaded Connoisseurs currently. Goodnight Mini against Weird Pengus 2-0. Yeah, we just saw Toby against Tilt is 1-1 currently. And a Weird Penguin, so a different Weird team, against Nomi, so a different Nomi team. 2-0 for Nomi. So I guess Nomi greater than Weird currently, because both of those are 2-0 for the Polish team.
Well, I guess Polska Górom.
Polska Górom. Tak. Alright, so first map, obviously down and out, or rather done with. Now it's 1 minute 10, and then we're gonna spawn on Moravanka. Toby, the first one to attack. As
Triple EBR and reaction, one of them.
well, maybe reaction is one of those, single-use EBRs, and then he can help, like,
I mean, you will take
either
the
from the
quick way
bench
back to the
or
break and...
a quick way back to the bench.
Exactly, okay. How did Killer Pit do last game? See, this time we can say something positive. Nearly 5k damage. 1000 spot as well. I mean,
Almost
let's
like
not
there's
talk
a reason for him being in that team. All right, Slam establishing dominance overall in, by the way, 2-0.
Yep. Let's not talk about the pen rate here, because I feel like on those angled up 279s, it's sometimes just a matter of millimeters on aiming a bit higher, rolling a bit better when it comes to the penetration rolls. So yeah, good stuff coming in here. And this triple EBR will be interesting to see.
Also, never mind. Someone read it up last second. Okay, so triple EBR, as you said, for the side of Toby, together with 1 CS. Then we have a plethora of chieftains and triple 279. For the side of Tilt, double EBR, 1279, and 12 chiefs. That is a lineup that can push aggressively, I would say. But since they're defending, I guess it's just about being able to do rotations on your A-line camp and maybe send the 279s towards CD56, and that's about it.
So we will see how the initial distribution of spotting power goes. With this triple EBR, you can usually try to double up on one side. You're expecting...
You can even send triple EBR one side, let all of them load HE, and basically one salvo one of the enemy EBRs immediately. They are not doing that though. They are basically doubling down on the forest, while reaction and hashtag are the EBRs on the 2 and 3 line respectively. I don't think reaction saw the chieftains that are camping currently in C3. However, Padja there took a shot, and now it is down to the double EBR from Toby to chase off Sem, because it's a bit of a mind game going on. They sent 2 EBRs towards the forest, but they actually have all of their fighting tanks, save like 3 or 4, that are going towards the 2 and 3 line currently.
And I mean, if you take a look at what is happening there, those chieftains are leaving already, so Unique and Denley Boeing both abandoning their friends. I would like to see one of them maybe move, if they really want to hold this here, move already to A3. Usually you have this triangle here of B.
It's called the
B1.
triangle of control.
Exactly, so you can control it a bit like this, but it looks like they will just keep them for now. This way maybe some of them get spotted, you don't provide the enemy team with that much information. And at this point you have to also think about the time aspect, so there's just certain amount of time that you can use for rotations. Good shot here into Kokos. And as of right now, we basically reached the 8-minute mark, and Kokos should be able to provide his team with a lot of information on how many shots were fired towards him. Rainbreaker
funnily,
there actually a bit exposed, but everyone missed him. Maybe they didn't want to give that much information and said not everyone is allowed to shoot or everyone is supposed to shoot.
funnily enough, I think if Toby had pushed 2 and 3 line immediately with all tanks, then I think Tilt would have been in big trouble because they would have caught like 5 chieftains for free.
I'm not sure if you can really call that for free, because what usually happens...
Well, yeah, not for
is,
free, but like they would have gotten gun advantage and HP advantage as well.
I mean, what
because they
usually
would
if you
have had
blind
big
push,
overmatch.
what you have to do is that you send some things along this line and some things you send here, because you don't know what is hidden in this area. Same for here, this area. And in the meantime, those tanks can usually just try to punish this, or just wrap around like this, or even towards the buildings, wait to get some things situated here and here, and then you can just crossfire it a bit. But, well, didn't happen. 3 minutes have passed now, and as much as we were saying a lot of action happening on the second round of Fisherman's Bay, it's not really that much happening as of right now. So the 2 chieftains, Never and Sir Jacob, came up there, got spotted, and are trying to figure out how to break this right now. I
mean,
think it's
Barbarian-
important to say that if they actually want to push on the 2-3 line and leave them here, the more tanks are on the 9-0 line, the more they can actually lose when there's a counter push.
I mean, I was about to say Barbarian being pushed into the EF ditch with the CS is the first commitment that we actually see. But just as I wanted to say that, we basically see that Toby is leaving 1 chieftain on the 1 line. That is probably a mind game once again, because they want to basically suggest to the enemy team that Mirek is there to basically crossfire for the soon to be coming 2-3 line push, which we as observers know is not the case. Instead, everyone getting rotated towards the forest, and I think that is where the push is going to hit. Now, I'm actually not that convinced of the Tilt defense here, because they're going to overpush Puppy. He's going to die in an instant, and then they have an easy time after like 5 seconds of driving or so of just overpushing the next row of chieftains. Yes, there is another row of them to basically crossfire, but if you have like 10 chieftains rolling over 4 and then over 5, I think the 10 chieftains are actually the ones that are gonna come out victorious.
Well, I think
especially
like, yeah, finish your
yeah,
sentence.
Especially if they pull like the chieftain from E7 plus the 279s possibly. What I don't like currently, what Pegasus is doing, that they are not committing fully to the push. It's sort of half-assed. You see there is like double or even triple chieftain all over the map. That is not going to help. There is 1279 for God knows what reason, and like G3. If you're going to do such a push that is basically blind all in,
Yeah, I think
just
now they're
do it with
moving
everyone.
Yayas and Frugo there as well. But it might be a bit late, because look, the push is rolling. Yayas will definitely be late to the party. And Puppy should be the next one to fall, or the first one to fall. 900, 1.7, and actually Silent, the first one to drop. Now they're trying to retaliate on Sam, but that did not work out. Now we have stationary guns versus tanks that can't bring their HP into the game. So Sir Jacob will be the next one to fall. The HPs are still in favor of Tilt, but Pegasus might be able to get a gun advantage now.
Yeah, Pegasus now pushing in here with a slightly superior number onto the first chieftain row, but you can see the second one just over-peaking completely, trying to put in whatever shots they can. And now Yokro, probably the next one on the menu here, is down to a 2-shot. Meanwhile, there is basically a knife fight going on in between the chieftains that are on the first row. Finally, Tilt is able to completely eliminate all of those, but at what cost? They're currently down 2k HP. Kokos just fell to the grave, and they are still looking at very, very healthy second row chieftains that are almost full HP here and now starting the counter push.
Yeah, the repush is coming, and you can see there's a big tank disadvantage because there is a full HP 279 and Mirek in his chieftain also completely out of the game. Overall, the tank guns are pretty much even, but Floki, Yayas, and Barkis are now separated. Piotr on the other side is completely... Yeah, he's full HP, but nobody cares about him because it's only one gun and they can pick up the low HP tanks first. Dandy dropping to 70 HP. Maybe he will be able to get into cover behind Tarks. If there is a shield coming, they can keep this gun in the game. Now, obviously, you know, the phase hack of the Chieftain is always very effective versus a 279. And this way, like, the HP always going back in favor of the team keeping their guns in the game. You have so much more effective DPM during that time. And you can see it. A lot of 2 shots, 3 shots now versus those full HP tanks. And even with the EBRs alive and in the cap circle soon, that should be an easy job decapping.
Yeah, the thing is, the defending team here, Tilt, they still have a double EBR in the game. So that is very, very important moving forward. Because, well, basically both teams know that they can't cap because it's double EBR for either side. And yeah, the problem here for the side of Toby is that they just lack the
good shot
heavy
by
tank
Curry.
power.
528 into the back of reaction. And I think Mirek is able to pick up Danley, who was sitting on only 70 HP. And with his fire on Radio Pyramid, it might even get a bit closer here in this fight. But keep in mind, there are still those 3 chieftains in the back that have to be taken care of.
Reaction with a nice shot into Sam, but in turn, hashtag picking up Brain Breaker. And yeah, as I said, it's just about that, well, Toby, they've run all out of heavy tanks. And the ones alive now are basically the ones that were scattered around the map, not achieving anything during the push. And that is once again where I think if you just commit wholeheartedly to a push like this, as you should, then you stand a decent chance of winning the game. But if you have tanks cluttered all over the map that aren't doing anything except driving towards the push and being useless while doing that, then yeah.
Reaction missed his shot, and with him not having a gun rammer, there should be an advantage for hashtag Curry now to retaliate on that shot, but he has the chieftains in the back. He doesn't necessarily need to do something. Good pickup here by the German player, and yeah, we can take a look at how this brawl here of Frugo versus Tarks and Pedger is going. Frugo driving in, and it seems like they missed out a bit on the focus fire here. Tarks now, oh, Mirek fluffs his shot.
I mean, it's over. It's over, so.
Yeah, in the end, it didn't really matter, but picking up a couple more kills, let it look a bit more closer, might help them to, well, stabilize their potential match point here and not give up this round 3-1.
Alright, so this means that once again, Tilt is able to secure a lead here in this best of 5. It's 2-1, which means they are on match point now, but obviously sides are going to be switched, and it's Toby Pegasus, which are going to defend next.
Oh, good damage here by Pedger and
Tarks and Pedger, both of them 6 and 7k respectively. Wow.
Radio Primate as well, like if you consider that he shot much less shots, so 15, 15, 12, very good result for him.
Alright, so Tilt against Toby 2-1. Then we have some final results already. Fired 3-0 over Lyric. Pure Delizie is currently 2-1 again over Pearl. Davy losing its first round against Reloaded Connoisseurs. We have Chess not really putting out content today, getting beaten 3-0 by Reddit.
There go my channel points.
Oh no. Then Nomi 3-0 firm win over the Peng Yuan team from Weird. Goodnight Mini 3-0 over the Pengus from Weird. Ouch. That is a proper clapping if I've ever seen one. Slam Beyond 3-0 over All In. That's not something I would have expected, but congrats to Slam Beyond team, I guess. CSA 2-1 over Trick currently. And the other CSA team beating Dead 3-0. And that's about it for the time being, I think.
Yeah, and I think the CSA team that is playing against Trick is even their second team, if I remember correctly. So.
CSA Gorom? Wait, what?
I think one is the Lion team and one is the Dinosaur team. So the Lions are right now leading over Trick. But it's a similar scenario to what we have seen here in this round, where the defending team picked up so far all the rounds. So if we continue that trend, the next victory should be again a defense victory. But wait, Trick was just defending, so CSA actually picked up the attack. Okay, I was wrong. So CSA is now defending against Trick, while Tovi is on the defense versus Tilt. So Barbarian's team only have to survive 10 minutes, while Trick actually has to cap or destroy all enemy vehicles. Another result that just came in is that Reddit X won against Bleeder 3-0. So Reddit X will play against the winner of Reloaded and Devi, which, if I remember correctly, it was 1-2 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so lineups. Pegasus coming in with WBR 5279s, and that means 7 chieftains and a super conch, Barbarian playing that one. And for the other side, we have WBR as well, 2279, and that leaves 11 chieftains.
I think Barbarian is a bit limited in his tank choices on tier 10. I think he has only CS and super conch.
Yeah, but didn't they participate in
the
that
was Korn.
Oh, that was Korn, okay.
Yeah. So Sam and Silent moving towards each other here. Looks like Sam has
HE shot by
put
Sam.
in a good connection, while Silent was not able so far to retaliate. Now a good shot also by Silent. So both tanks losing roughly 500 HP. But Silent is now stuck behind the building, and maybe there will be some step pros that want to help him out.
Yeah, indeed. Both teams pulling some heavy tanks towards the forest. I think
there is an overpush in the middle happening already. So Killer Pit is being pushed by Reaction, Kokos, and Frugo. I'm not sure if he really likes that, but as you can see there, it's a bit in the shadows. But there is some wooden hard cover that you can use to angle up your lower
basically
plate.
You can destroy that wooden rubble, and then they can't pen your hull anymore. But as you can see, Frugo now driving in for the kill. He's doing it for the thrill, but Reaction the one to steal it. And now we can see Tilt with firm control established over the forest, but the middle everywhere does belong to Toby, who are bleeding heavily currently though. 4k HP down now. Chabar Yayas in the forest, the first one to fall there, and CFR probably the next one on the menu, as he's down to 324 HP.
Yeah, you can see Barkers together with Frugo, Silent, and Mirek, they're now trying to somehow take care of Dandy, Unique, and ASDE. But yeah, the wave is still coming in, and so far the HP stay in favor of Tilt, even though they got a bit closer, I would say.
Yeah, the HP is still in favor of Tilt, but they need to be careful here. Reaction in the middle was the one shot that did now fall in his 279. Coco's now getting triple tapped by tanks surrounding him. Probably also gonna not survive here. Sir Jacob, the same is going for him. And yeah, that was a very, very aggressive opening from Pegasus, but they now need to solidify as double EBR from the side of Tilt is even in Kappa, and I don't really see how they will be able to reset without sacrificing tremendous amounts of HP. Silent now going in, but getting set on fire by Stepro and never the one to pick him up. And it's looking very, very grim here for the side of Pegasus that will have to commit onto that decap as only 15 seconds remain. But Spieler, Tarx1, Stepbro, Infinity, and Patcher all on the prowl here, trying to get onto those tanks that are trying to reset.
Yeah, I mean, if even the French tanks are being stopped in the retreat, that usually means that everything is over. And yeah, you can see it. The cap went through. Tilt victorious 3-1 over Pegasus. And a bit of a disappointment, I guess, for the team around Mirek, Barbarian, and Frugo.
Yeah, I guess this one's going to be a very short YouTube VOD for the side of Barbarian and Tilt. Victorious here, able to claim their spot in the semifinals of the Clan Showdown Qualifier 2.
Yeah, and that means that we'll have to see how the other teams are doing. The next opponent will be obviously the winner between Pearl and Pijor. Let's see if there are some games that are still running where we might be able to join for a couple more games. Yeah, it looks like that's not the case. So yeah, we can quickly go through the results that we have so far. You mentioned it earlier in Group 1. We basically have all 3 results in already. All in lost 0-3 against Beyond. Weird versus... is that the first Weird team? Yes, it doesn't really matter. I think that's the second Weird team, lost against Nomi, also the 0-3. And Dead lost versus CSA Dinosaurs. That means Nomi will play against CSA and Daily will play against Slam.
There Trick against CSA.
Tiebreaker.
No.
That's the other CSA team. No.
I mean...
Oh, are they like all the same? We will see. So...
Oh no, Pippa love.
The running games are obviously still Group 2's last semi decision. So we have Gnomi versus Fired in the upper bracket. I can also just switch the scene and show you what I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah. So that was Group 1. Everything is decided. Daily versus Slam. Nomi versus CSA. That's the CSA first team, I think. Yep. Led by Sakalito. And then we have here Fired and Gnomi versus the winner of Reddit and Reloaded and Divi. So potentially here a chance for another tiebreaker. And after this just finished 3-1, we will have the winner of Trick and CSA. We know already that is going to be a tiebreaker game. And Pearl and Pure Deletes, yeah, something like that.
Deletes, yeah, tak. That one is still 2-1 for Pure, I think. But yeah, if Pearl is able to put another round on the board, that one will also be heading to tiebreaker. Same goes for Reloaded against Davy. That's the only game that I currently see going on, where Davy is currently leading 2-1.
Yeah, so you can see the tiebreaker map here is Himmelsdorf. So that should be a pretty good game to watch here between CSA and Trick. Battle should open any moment. And
yeah, I guess we'll do a short 2-3 minute break and then we'll be back.
Yep, so see you in like 3-4 minutes and hope everyone is enjoying themselves so far. And obviously enjoying the stream as well. Okay, we are back, and this is the tiebreaker match between Trick and CSA. Both teams coming in on Himmelsdorf with a double CS63. CSA deciding to go for a double 50B as well, and having 3 chieftains. On the other side, we have 6 chieftains for Trick and 7 279s. Often when we have this combination of double CS and double 50B, there might be some pushing of the heavy tanks by the very well engineered. Yeah, I wanted to say they're pushing each other, but that looks like this is not the case. So 50B dodges out on the CS63, and we can see Trick having bit of a commitment towards the 3 line immediately.
They're staying unspotted with the 279s as of now. Only one spotted is Christian Horner. Bartis Pepega is pushing actually very aggressively with his 279 over the 3 line, going into the courtyard now, taking 1 shot as of now. Double CS already on the hill here for the team in red for CSA. And they are going to be able to provide crossfire onto the tanks that are driving up for Trick. The question is when exactly and how exactly are those 50Bs going to hit? Because they need to get up close and personal to be able to reliably do their 444 clips. And
big overpeaks here by Marches, Christian Horner, and Green Mickey Mouse. But the CS on the hill were able to somewhat retaliate some damage at least. So first gun dropped by Bart is Pepega. And it looks like they're gathering around the lower part of the hill.
That hill commitment is very weird engagement for both sides, I guess, as double CS is going to retreat here towards the pressure of the double chief and 1 CS, but there is double 50B that could immediately come and collapse. They need to be very careful though, because on the 2 and 3 line, there are cross shots available from the lower side 279s. Meanwhile, on the lower side in the 8 line, it's a complete engagement. They're trying to overpush the 279 Silent Net's Ondra, and indeed he does fall, and finally the 50Bs get pulled here on the hill. First one to fall is going to be Samu, but the 50Bs still hungry, still not out of steam, trying to push onto Blizzard now, who immediately gets completely slaughtered by the clips.
Yeah, and you can see while the hill was won, now the yellow wave is over pushing here into the CD line. Higher on this elevated ground should be able to hold this stance for a moment. Marek still on full HP, but now you can see Meheske, Best Spiller, everyone is now coming in with their HPs, their guns, trying to eliminate here this first line of defense before the tanks are coming back from the hill. Also the 2-3 line is being attacked heavily. Toxic there being the next one to fall. Uri now on only 900 HP, and looks like Forge overextended a bit and will now be facing 3 enemies in front of him.
Yeah, Charbel Forge here in a very, very bad situation, as there's like 5 tanks available for the side of Trick here, who are collapsing on him now. He's going to fall. There's only 1 279 remaining. That is Albrecht CZ on the 1 line, but he's getting double teamed by Green Mickey Mouse and Christian Horner, able to reduce Christian Horner to a 1-shot. He's still very healthy with 2k HP. He needs to connect that shot here onto Christian to be able to then focus on Green Mickey Mouse, but alas, he bounces down to a 2-shot now. So this secures basically the win on the 1 line here, and on the 8 line, we see CSA also very concentrated with their tanks, but there is cap action going on now for the defending team here. Trick with a triple 279, soon to be only double 279 in the cap, and Crazy Luciano in his 50B only a 2-shot, so won't really be able to reset.
And you can see the CS just joined the cap circle, 20 seconds left on the clock, but I don't even think that this is anything that they need anymore. 3k versus 8k HP, 5 tanks against 10 tanks. This should be all but over, even though there is one more pickup here onto one of the Trick tanks. Kriya dropping as well. 2 seconds left, and that's the match for Trick. Good stuff here by the defending team on Himmelsdorf. Very aggressive move, I have to say, but
it did work out for them.
It worked out.
Yeah, I guess for CSA, even though they did manage to get like double chieftain for almost free on the hill, the overmatch that Trick had on the 2 and 3 line, just breaking their backs, also the 2 and 3 line able to put shots onto the hill. That's why we saw all of the CSA tanks there dropping very low. And in the end, Trig able to claim their spot in the semifinals, and CSA Lions are going to be knocked out.
I have to say, what I really didn't like was how aggressive the tanks of CSA were positioned on the weak side. So you have your aggressing hill commitment with a lot of resources investment, the double 50B, this double CS was there. They even put up some chieftains, Peacemaker and Patras were there. So if you have all those tanks having the overmatch on the hill, don't go too aggressive when you're looking at the 3 line and at the rails area. You see like Uri and Toxic, they were pretty far up. In the end for them, you can see it here. One shot of damage, or 2 shots of damage. Here, this one survived a bit longer. And even though, who was it? Albrecht survived for quite long. He was just so outnumbered. If they were with 3 tanks just in the back, defending on the side where the cap starts or the entrance street is, they still have decent amount of vision there, and yeah, they don't give up that many tanks for basically free.
Okay, so the question is, who do we watch now?
So there's one game still running, so that's Peter versus Pearl. I guess
the winner of that is going to face Tilt. I guess not that much, since we just saw Tilt.
Yeah, so yeah, just pick one. I guess the probably most competitive one might be Nomi versus CSA. But what are the maps? Cliff, Himmelsdorf, Proco. I think even watching CSA could be fine there.
Okay, so I guess we
otherwise
go for...
we can watch Daily versus Slum. That could be also interesting. And we haven't featured any of their matches, I think, in the first qualifier.
Alright, so Daily versus Slim.
You can also just make a vote.
Okay.
So everyone will be unhappy about making their own decision.
Okay.
Great. Good. So yeah, that means we will take like, let's say 8 minutes break. 8 minutes break, then we will go for 2-3 minutes over the lineups, over the current progression of the tournament tree, and we will be back in roughly 7-8 minutes. Okay, everyone, we are back, and we will start with a quick overview on the 3 groups. Group 3 is the group that finished last. Pearl just won their tiebreaker game against Pure, meaning Pearl will face Tilt and Reddit will face Trick, who just won against the second team of CSA. That is, by the way, CSA Lions. Then we have Gnomi versus Fired, Reddit X versus Devi, and Daily versus Slam. The game that you decided to watch will be Nomi versus CSA Dinosaurs. Just for Killer Pit, we have prepared visualization here. This is a dinosaur Killer Pit.
That is a giraffe.
This is a giraffe. So there is a slight difference here. This is a dinosaur. Dinosaur. This is the giraffe. Okay, so after that was clarified, we can directly hop into the gameplay. First map to watch will be Cliff. We saw Cliff of CSA versus the team of Tilt in the first qualifier. Saka told me he will step up his game on Cliff a bit, and hopefully,
as well he should.
Hopefully be well prepared. So
all right,
let's see what they have prepared.
Hopping into the first round of CSA against Nomi here. It is the Clan Showdown June Qualifier 2 Group 1. And immediately we do see a switch up on the side of CSA. We see one TVP played by Froly. Then we have one 907 coming in from Radim. We have double Chieftain from Nalo and Saka. And 4 277s, and the rest is just CS63s. A tank which is, I would say, underrepresented on the Nomi lineup. Only 4 of them there. Then we have one Chief, triple 260, quadruple 907, one STB probably for ramp, one TVP, and an EBR.
Okay, so let's see what the EBR will be able to spot at the beginning. Decides to go for the lower side, and the first thing that I have to mention is, what is this ammo decision? Like HE on the first slot with APC on the third?
Yes.
Yes, so we can see here, obviously the CS being in the speedy mode, very hard to hit shots here. Nobody actually connects a shot. EBR now takes one, makes it around, and CSA with a bit of a crossfire here, immediately being able to put in good shots into the tanks of Nomi going towards the hill. Good shooting there. Already immediately nearly 5k up. Now the rotation has to come from CSA. Flirtamon, Cosmo, and Golder. They are being approached by the 907 push. And it looks like they're just being sacrificed. Golder dropping there to 500 HP. Flirtamon being overpushed now as well. CSA has to control the middle area to not end up in the same crossfire they created at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. CSA now starting with the overpush onto the middle positions because their CSs at the donut are being slaughtered. There isn't even anyone at A5 to properly control the 907s here, who are just putting in the herd, killing Seago now. And because of this, CSA has to overpush the middle. Yes, they're getting some kills, but Ondra getting set on fire doesn't help. BRTQ there in the TVP has reloaded, is going to put in a clip. The STB falls for the side of Nomi. It's just a back and forth everywhere, but considering the positions on the map, Phil, I think Nomi's got this one in the back, even though they are down in HP currently.
Yeah, so the hill is now being contested by the CS from CSA. We will need to see if that is enough HP on one tank to control 2 tanks in return. CSA down in tanks, up a bit in HP, but I don't think that's significant enough to balance out the HP disadvantage, the tank disadvantage against the defending set of Nomi here.
Yeah, and it seems like Podvodny Kiepna Chole has actually 3 peeks onto Sakalito. He seems to not get spotted for this. Now, a very deciding factor here could be Froly in his TVP, actually full HP, being pulled on towards the hill. He's going to take the outside position, sort of on the eastern part of the top part of the lighthouse, and misses his first shot actually, or bounces it. Second, third one connects, fourth one also. So Poki is now a one-shot. This is why Kran, I guess, what was his name?
Uranosaurus.
Uran, oh god. Yeah, Uran is coming in. to secure one of the kills. And now Luzakinho and Podvodny
Mm-hmm.
sort
The
of...
double CS.
Yeah, the double CS on the hill. Both of them are one-shots, but it still is CSA who has to attack.
Yeah, you can see now Nomi trying to get some more map presence by sending their EBR along the one line, now capturing the areas around B2, A2. Might even start with some cap pressure. We can switch to his perspective. EBR is able to spot up from here, so you can go over, just show your gun, get some information, maybe see the 907 there. Looks like he does not. So this is the perspective of tank spotted by Nomi
Look
right
at that
now.
TVP going around the hill, though.
They see it now. Frawley is still reloading. Now Frawley has 2 more shots left. Picks up the first one. That's a very important shot. And if he manages to pick up the next kill there, that might be game deciding.
It's going to be very important moving forward, but I think in his position, I would rather go back, reload 4 more, and then go for the secure kill than trying to gamble onto one shot. Yeah, indeed, he does pull the reload here. So, good decision making from Frawley.
Yeah, in the meantime, there is a CS63 that is being pulled towards the cap circle where the EBR has started pressuring CSA into some kind of movement. You can see Frawley picked up the CS. In the meantime, CSA now in firm control of the hill. Cap circle has been started. CSA evened out the guns, while obviously Nomi evened out the HPs. So no longer gun lead for Nomi, neither HP lead for CSA. 50 seconds left, and it looks like the CS will try to like get some cover behind the tree here. And
the CS now also driving towards the cap here, the 907. He's going to be in for more than he bargained for, probably. Radim playing that one very well, though. Does spot through the bush, but the CS actually being pulled into the cap to provide a shield for the EBR 105. And so far, no shots connecting even onto the CS. 8 seconds only left. Radim will probably have to reveal himself here even. And as he does, 10 seconds left, but Vindictive, he seems to be tightly tucked. Oh, never mind. Trandolf with the snipe of the century, able to pick up the EBR, but Radim, he did sacrifice like 1k HP for this. Trandolf now also being tagged by the 907s in the middle, needs to be careful. And CSA, their playmaker at the moment is Frawley there with the flanking TVP.
Exactly. So as you mentioned, the flanking TVP has a very strong position now to punish any kind of like F-line repush, but I don't think Nomi should really be forced to do anything as of right now, because they are still in the defending slot. CSA now up roughly 1200 HP, which at this point is quite significant if you think about the remaining HPs. That's like 20% more HP and 2 guns, only 1 heavy tank left. And if you take a look at how the HPs are distributed, they're very well distributed, considering all those 440 and 490 alpha guns. So 2 shots and 1 shots, beside obviously Seal Officer in his nearly full HP tank. So CSA this time, we have to say, was aggressive at the beginning and now has 3.5 minutes to close this game. And this is the difference of not sitting and waiting for 8 minutes, nothing happens, and then you're out of time. So we might actually see a CSA attack winning before like the 9-minute mark this time.
Well, we'll have to see. I'm sure they will want to use all the time that they can get here. The 277s now being rotated over towards the donut. They're gonna hit like a truck onto the 907s. Both Adas, Imperius, and Dolixor are 2 shots here, and they are sort of facing the wrong direction. They don't even know what's coming here, as Lucker, Combat, and Trandorf, all of them approaching here. Lucker gonna put in his first shot, and Adas immediately focused out. Hakako on his part is gonna fall down towards the 1 shot, but Frawley is there with the clip, not missing a beat here. Seal Officer down to 672 now, and Uran still very healthy in his CS. This is gonna clean up the pocket of resistance that Nomi still had going at the donut, and now only Stuparek and Vindictive Michael are there in it for Nomi here. And yeah, Stuparek now going in. He knows it's over. Puts in 1 more shot into Frawley, but CSA actually closing out an attack within 8 minutes of time.
Oof.
So, good stuff, I guess, from the Czech team. And for Nomi, it's back to the drawing board because they now have to attack. Wait, did I even start a prediction?
No,
Yeah,
but you can. Oh, okay. Otherwise, you could have started like a 2-minute prediction or something. CSA putting first point on the board. Frawley, significant damage here. 19 penetrated hits. And also good stuff. We have to mention that by Radim. He was the one spotting the damage in the cap circle. So, well done. I don't even know who did the decap shots, but I guess it doesn't matter. Also, good focus fire in the end. I really liked to see this 277 coordination there. Everyone knowing whom to shoot. No shots went into some racks that were finished off already. And I guess we can use that time to run over the other results. Spoke a lot, so I will give you some breathing room. Trick versus Reddit, 1-0 for Trick. Tilt leading over Pearl. Gnomi down a point against Fired. Daily down against Beyond. CSA, as we just saw, leading 1-0 as well. Trick, in the meantime, put in the second point against Reddit, and Reddit X down versus Devi 0-1 as well. And considering that this is a 9-minute game where Devi was attacking, that might have even been a camp.
I mean, I'm not too fond of cliff camps personally, because if the attacking team knows what they're doing, then yeah, let's just say you're not gonna have a fun time as a defender if you're camp. I think the defender on cliff actually is forced to play semi-actively at the start, because if you give up too much map control, then you're just gonna get out-positioned in that 10-minute
I mean, what we
time
often
frame.
saw recently was basically the straight of Hill versus Donut, and both teams have somewhat of a presence in the middle area still. But I guess like the last real camp that we saw on Cliff that was like intended to just stay defensively was the Kalyamangel strat with a double E3 on Cliff some tournaments ago. But yeah, I would really not like to see that again.
All right, 15 seconds here. Let's take a quick look at the lineup that CSA is bringing. It's going to be a 50B played by, I would say, the match winner last round, Frawley. Very good stuff from him. Then Quintuple 277, Double Chief, and the rest is just CSs once again. I guess CSA playing CSs, you know.
Yeah.
That's a natural combination of some sort. Nomi on the other side, Double 907, Double Chief, 4 260s, and the rest is also CSs.
Yeah,
7
so
of them.
This
Quick
time
math.
no EBR, no STB, and no TVP. Maybe we can see some all-in brawls on the 2-line or even in the middle area. But CSA on the defending side will have to convince us that they're actually capable of not only passively holding their part of the map.
All right, interesting stuff already by CSA. The 50B is not going towards the lower side to be able to snipe at CSs crossing up the hill. Instead, everyone from CSA is going towards middle. The same cannot be said for Nomi. For Nomi, it's basically, I think, what is it? How many? 6 CSs going middle together with 1 chief, and everyone else is 1-2 line. That double CS that went 1-2 line is going to be crucial, punishing the tanks going up the hill, which are Ondra and Radim here. And immediately, some battle erupts here in the middle where the CSs are meeting Nomi CSs, that is, the tanks
that was
CSA
really bad shooting onto Flirterman, who makes it into the pocket with 1400 HP left. But now the big brawl is happening, and look at all those Nomi tanks out of the game for now. Now 277s off CSA have to make a decision if they pull back there or if they completely overcommit. I think it's the right decision to stay where you are and carefully now advance towards Flirterman in his CS63. Good shooting there onto Burak, but the game is by far not over yet.
Repush by CSA. The T277s are driving towards the donut, where first of all they're going to meet the 907s, but already 260s and Chieftains for Nomi being pulled here to stop that push. Dead in its tracks. It's going to be 907s and Chieftains Haldan holding the 277s. Meanwhile, the skirmish in the middle is going on, but CSA cannot overcommit into it because some 260s are still holding the crossfire. And I'm not sure if CSA are in more for what they bargained. More than what they bargained for, actually, as the 277s, yeah, they're starting to retreat from the donut, concentrating more out towards the middle again. But yeah, the kill department is sort of favoring the Czech team here, while the HP slightly in favor of Nomi. But I think CSA pretty happy currently because they still have Flirtman alive in his CS. He can provide crossfire, he can peek once in a while, just get a free shot of damage. That is why Vindictive Michael is not being set.
Is taking care of that issue right now. So actually low rolling, forcing Flirteman to drive forward, and the 260 picks him up. So CSA now in a gun, even now in gun. I wanted to say disadvantage because they just lost 2 tanks, but it's still even. And you have to keep in mind CSA is controlling the hill, and now 1 tank has been surrounding the lighthouse here, the CS of Cosmo, trying to put shots into the back of the CS. Good kill pickup, and in the meantime there is a repush happening from the 260s of Gnomi. You can see Ada's Imperium already dropping to 90 HP, and there should be a second salvo picking up some kills here. Gnomi now down 5000 HP, and that looks very good for CSA.
Yeah, that 260 repush, you have to say it how it is. That wasn't it. They just took so many shots crossing towards the middle. Some of them didn't even properly make it here. And they are trying to make something happen against the 277s, but it's just at this point the inferior numbers are not able to pull it back anymore. The 277s in starting to advance now. Froley probably off reload soon in his 50B. And it's just CSA everywhere currently. The amount of guns is just going to drive it home.
Yeah, now the 277 pushed back the CS, the 907 should be the next one to fall, and I have to say CSA is, I guess, waking up now after the first bit rough qualifier against Team Tilt, and now with only 4 tanks left, very nice 15-4, 10k HP remaining, so good stuff from CSA. Also good job on keeping so many 1 and 2 shots alive.
Mm-hmm. And even CSA, this round, setting more enemies on fire than they got fires in their own lines.
And I mean, being rewarded for playing aggressively, that sounds something that CSA should repeat again.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, good stuff. So yeah, Trondorf actually on top here with his 277. The hero from last round. I think he hit an amazing shot there, decapping the EBR. Not sure if that was even out of render. But yeah, other results.
Schrick finished Reddit off immediately in that's 16 minutes only for a 3-0 victory over Reddit.
Basically the equivalent of a 20-minute advance. But yeah, Divi 2-0 over Reddit X. Goodnight Nomi against Fired 1-1 currently, and we saw CSA 2-0 over Nomi. Slam Beyond currently beating Daily 2-0, and Tilt 2-0 over Pearl as it stands.
Yeah, so very fast games on Cliff. I guess that's something we can always expect and hope to happen. Now we are going on a bit of a different map. We saw the tiebreaker being played on Himmelsdorf earlier already, so a lot of options on, I would say, still the community favorite, Himmelsdorf, and no 50Bs, only 1 CS. What do we think about that?
I mean, depends on what you want to achieve. With that amount of 279, it almost suggests a 2-3 line play / 8 line, something like that. I mean, it all depends, like what the lineup of the enemy is going to be. But I don't think CSA is focusing on hill control here.
So what's your read on the current meta on Himmelsdorf? Like, recently we haven't really seen this E4 or not at all any VZ55s. I guess the VZ55s struggles a bit from the fact of that they have to permanently have this frontal fight against those very well armored 279s, so potentially hull-bound chieftains. So there's not a lot of options to get into the sight of tanks. That's basically what you want to do with this 2-shot autoloader. But the E4 or the E3s should be a good choice against this 279 armor, which is pretty reliable. Penetration.
What we haven't seen this tournament so far is actually what I really love to see on Himmelsdorf is teams, especially the defending team, just going full on assault through the courtyard. We haven't seen a lot of that as of now.
Yeah, neither have we seen any E100s.
Yeah, well, if you have Chiefs and 279s available.
I mean, we saw some defensive strats on pushing the hill with like 13 tanks while having an E100 shielding a 279 and stuff like this. But maybe later when we come towards Ensk, we will see that. Yeah, in the meantime, double CS and 6 chieftains for Nomi. So I would say a pretty similar lineup. They have the same amount of 279s, just traded 1 chieftain for a CS. And CSA is now on the way up towards the hill, and you were mentioning aggressive commitments towards the middle area, and that's
exactly what's happening.
What they're doing. So
you love to see it. So the CS is actually boosting the chieftains through the middle, and Lakarko there in the chieftain in the window needs to be very, very careful. Yes, he did do 1 shot of damage, but if he doesn't get support in time, then they're just gonna eat him alive there.
Yeah, he now decides to basically back up into the window. The only tank that can shoot the back of its turret is Seal Officer, and he is somewhat hull down against all the tanks at the lower side. He tries to angle, and importantly, there is a second commitment, second wave here coming in of those 279s, and this time, this CSA team is not leaving any tanks to be just pushed over there. Frawley has some cover, especially from Seago in his CS63 on the hill. So it should survive there for a moment, but now the push is rolling onto Radim, and we will have to see how the defensive stance here of CSA will eat this push or will get eaten by the blue wave rolling in.
Yeah, indeed. Some of the tanks by Nomi now taking the windows, some others driving towards the 5 line to possibly even flank Lakako, who's still alive in that window, so good job from him. And CSA, they need to start thinking, like, what are we going to do with our full HP tanks on the hill? Do we just leave them to snipe, or do we just pull them to the actual fight? Because cap is going on, 3 cap actually, as Radim falls here, and that is the crossfire onto the cap eliminated, which means that CSA at one point or another, they need to figure out some way to basically stop that cap from happening. Either they need to push into the hull down window and side scraping and 279 front that is being present in the cap, or if they get the flank with Cosmo. They actually opt for both options here. Cap not an issue anymore, but Kurmelat's down to 317 HP, sacrificing his life to get this done.
Yeah, and the cap is still running. I mean, it's only 25 seconds, and Cosmo now should be able to put in 1 to the back, bounces on the back of the 279, takes 1 in return, and the guns are now heavily favoring Nomi. Look at the HPs, they are very close again, and CSA is not in a great position.
Yeah, CSA is in a very dire spot here, actually, as they had to sacrifice 3 tanks to even keep the game going, as the cap was going on. But yeah, 2 seconds left. Sakalito maybe with a last reset there, yes, down to 9 seconds once again, but take a look at the HP, 4k up here, and now Nomi starting the counter push as further reinforcements pour in from the 3 line, and CSA just not ready for that aggression. And I love those plays through the courtyard. They tend to catch the enemy off guard, and that's exactly what Nomi got done here.
Yeah, good cleanup here, and with this game continuing in that pace, that might even be the fastest game, which could be decisive for the tiebreaker selection, because the Cliff game was like 3 minutes and 45. So good stuff here coming in by Nomi, and with 3 seconds left on the cap, that's a good way to come back into the second map after losing 2-0 on Cliff.
Yeah, Nomi showing that they actually can perform and are not down and out yet, defeating the match point by CSA and able to secure one more round at least that they're going to play against them. Good stuff. I like it. Okay. Also, like 14-3, the scoreline at the end. Very, very good stuff coming out. Sides are going to be switched now. It's going to be CSA defending, and we can take a look at the other games that went on. Obviously, we just saw CSA taking an L from Nomi here. The other games, Goodnight Nomi 2-1 over Fired, Slam Beyond with a clean 3-0 sweep over Daily. I guess that was really a hard reset for them. Tilt Manticore 3-0 over Pearl, and that is all the news that we have currently.
Interesting enough, you remember when I was saying you can use this E100 with the 279 shield? That would have been great against the strat that Nomi was applying here, because this cap pressure can very much be negated by the very controlled peak of a 279 behind the hull of an E100. So yeah, I mean, this obviously caught them a bit off guard with this very aggressive movement. But considering for how long the Chieftain in the window survived, I think it was Hacker there, even dealing like 7 shots of damage, I would have really liked to see CSA a bit more proactive in the reaction department. You can even like just overpush the hill and repush the 8 line from the other side.
Talking about the reaction department, is that the bench or what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, reaction department is already back to the garage. I think they had their chances against the team of Tilt, but yeah, the Fisherman's Bay 2-0 defeat didn't really go in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I think it was the... Did they lose 2-0 on Fisherman's Bay or on Muro? I don't even remember. Well, it was a 3-1 after all.
Okay, so lineup-wise, what are we looking at? 1 CS from CSA, and then we have 6 279s, leaving 8 Chieftains.
And we have another scoreline, Devi 3-0 over Reddit X. And yeah, putting themselves into a comfortable spot in the finals. That should be against the winner of Fired and Gnomi. So we'll have to see later. Trick obviously waiting for a battle against Tilt. And Slam, who won, will face the team that is victorious here. Nomi coming in with one more 279 than CSA, so 7 279s for them, 7 Chieftains and a CS. Yeah, minor adjustments in the two lineups. We'll need to see where the tanks are distributed.
Right, so for CSA, big splits going on. There is going to be double 279 1 Chief towards the 2-3 line. Lucker is going to go into the window. Then we have Triple Chief taking the front road on towards the hill, and everyone else taking the back road here. They are going to have to be careful though, because I think what Nomi is preparing for is a delayed 2-3 line push with all the 279s waiting there.
Interesting enough, some of the Chieftains got actually spotted there in the 2 line by the, I think it was Flirteman or Uran in the Chieftains that spotted this immediate aggression at the beginning. And now the push is rolling, and you can see CSA this time reacting very clearly. You can see 3 line tanks were pulled back immediately. Here the 279s might even pick up some damage. No, not in that case.
I like the reaction by the 2-3 line tanks from CSA, by the way. Not immediately going for that engagement, instead drawing back, and not allowing themselves to get caught out.
Yeah, so now the push is being spotted. Obviously, the hill can punish with the first salvo, but that delays the time that they need to just come back and reinforce their troops here. Flirterman and Radim should be the first line of defense together with Sakalito, who was a bit left alone here by Frawley and Karpfak Libor. Now the dust
CSA now
has
trying
settled
to
and
repush.
it looks like there is a second wave of tanks pushing in from the back. The 4 chieftains there, or 3 chieftains and a 279 are now in the cap. The cap has been started and it's a big brawl over the place. You can see the next line of tanks approaching there onto the defending tanks of the cap circle. 3 chieftains driving through the courtyard. Radim is being picked up and it's a bit of a chaotic situation.
A bit of a chaotic situation, but the problem for CSA is that they are not able to completely repush the Mercedes right now. Instead, they lost Trandorf and Sakalito. They're in their 279s respectively, and they have to make peeks onto the cap to basically secure that one doesn't go through. Good pickup onto Seal Officer is going to basically deny the cap pressure as it's only 1 tank in there. But in the H and J 4 positions, you have all of the CSA tanks that are, well, 4 of them only remaining that are getting focused out here, and the gun advantage really showing for Nomi currently. CSA, though, still in the slight HP lead, so maybe they can make something happen with that as they are trying to possibly overpush their own cap now.
Yeah, you can see there's like 5k HP remaining on the tanks in the cap, and they're not really using that HP for anything as of right now. So a lot of one-shots remaining on the side of Nomi. CSA has only 6 tanks left, and they have a rack in front of them, so they can somewhat take cover behind it, but they have to expose to decap at some point, and Will facing 2 tanks in front of him. He's trying to get around the chieftain, trying to pick up this 200 HP one-shot, but is not able to do that. Like, overpush is coming now. CSA, look at the HP dropping so low on 4000 HP. Is this even winnable anymore?
We are going to have to see, because Gamers in his 279 is the crucial cornerstone here of that cap going on right now. He's just able to put Crossfire and now Seago falling, leaving only Ondra and Combat here in the game. And no is the answer to your question. It's not winnable anymore. Combat down to 804 HP. 2-shot here for the 279s that are just now starting to roll in. And Ondra, the last guy holding up the Czechoslovakian flag, I guess, here, as he does get pushed, does get taken out of the game. And Nomi, after being down 2-0 on Cliff, are now coming back here with a strong showing, making it a 2-2 and making us go the distance. We are headed towards a tiebreaker.
Yeah, good stuff here from Nomi. I mean, a bit of a blunder, I would say, by CSA on just leaving so many tanks on the eastern side of the cap, leaving so many tanks on the hill at the beginning. And I would say the push was definitely spotted early enough. So a bit of a surprise to see that.
I guess the defensive splits
maybe
near the cap were just not it. Like, the defensive splits near the cap is what lost CSA the game. They didn't repush Mercedes. They allowed Nomi to get Crossfire by going onto the cap, and they just didn't have an answer for that. So, whew.
Yeah, in the meantime, obviously, we know the results of the other games. After Gnomi earlier finished off fired 3-1 and Devi finished off Reddit X, they will now be playing in the final of Group 2. Group 3 will be decided between Trick and Tilt, who both won 3-0 over Reddit and Pearl. So the maps there will be Ensk, Live Oaks, and Sand River. We'll need to see who has the better read on those maps. And obviously Slam, after hard resetting daily, slamming them into the non-existent lower bracket, securing their spot in the final and waiting for the winner of Nomi and CSA.
Right, so I guess we're going to go to a quick break, and after that we are going to find out together who's going to make their way to the finals. Is it going to be the CS Army, or is it going to be the Polish powerhouse that is called Nomi? Well, hello there and welcome back to the semifinals. This is actually the last game that's going on from the semifinals. As you can see, the other two finals are already popped up. Goodnight Nomi against Stevie and Trick against Tilt. I am right now making a vote as to who of those two to spectate.
I mean, the vote will be over at the time this is on the stream.
Yeah. So, map is Prokhorovka. And it is... Wait, who is defending?
Nomi is defending. I mean, I was telling you this Himmelsurf attack was really fast. So them being able to close in those rounds faster than the cliff rounds from CSA allowed them now to be on the defending side of Prokhorovka.
Okay, so Froly coming in with his STRV. That's the only TD that we see. We have quite a lot of 907s, I think, for both sides.
I mean, CSA known usually to be a team that really likes the 907s for rotations, especially on maps like Prokhorovka, where you can also use this.
Cosmo immediately taking a shot in his EBR. The same can be said about Papi here. Both of those EBRs down to, well, for Cosmo it's 964. For Papi it's only 812, so possible two shots for Chieftains, but none of them are currently on the side where he's at. And Cosmo, is he attempting the hill boost is the question.
I remember in one of
Papa
the
Pavian
very back
did that.
tournaments, Papa Pavian doing that successfully. So maybe he's just trying to proxy spot from the lower side where he can follow
Proxy
up.
spot is a circle, and no, he's actually attempting the boost. So, I guess Cosmo is not Papa.
Well, I mean, EBR also a good change over the last years. Lost a bit of top speed and so on. So Gray in his EBR on the other side is spotted and might take some punishment if he wants to advance further here. Very good push by Sigo, being able to control the double bush and retaliate in terms of making sure nobody is pushing the 2 line, but CSA being on the attack should lead to like at least 3 more minutes of sitting before they decide on what they really want to do.
Yeah, I mean, lively discussions probably going on. The CSA TeamSpeak currently, and we see some slight reshuffling as well, sending the Chieftains from the 3 line more towards the middle. They need to be careful though. Ooh, Cosmo in the EBR on the hill just took, I'm not sure if it was a blind shot, but he did take another hit down to 488 now.
I mean, now the CS is on the hill, so in theory there is no immediate need of having this EBR still there to spot. He can approach the bushes in front of him, but you saw there were some blind shots immediately going in that direction, so maybe just, well, be a bit more careful, especially as you're only having one additional light. And looks like CSA is a bit hesitant to what they really want.
Yeah, I mean, CSA... they started off strong on Cliff, although chat was saying, like, Nomi did throw both of the Cliff rounds, so I guess currently the scoreline should be 4-0 Nomi. Take that deep copium hit.
Yeah, I think that much copium is something not too healthy.
Dangerous amounts.
Yeah,
dangerous.
dangerous
Industrial amounts being consumed.
And it looks like the 907s are now rotating towards the 6-7 line. Potentially could see a push onto the Chieftains into the ditch of 5-7, like DE 5-6-7 or 5-6 more. And I really like what they did there. Combat drove forward, pushing away the EBR exactly at the moment when the 907 push was coming, so this way they could ensure that this initial aggression was not spotted. Obviously the EBR of Nomi on this side sitting on a potential one-shot for the CS makes it very hard for him to really withstand this aggression here by the medium tank. And talking about aggression, it looks like CSA has decided that now could be the time to move in. 3 907s leading the charge with 2 following. And
Alright, so CSA actually committing in here, and they're going to find quite a few chieftains as well as a 279 or 2 in the middle here. The 907's currently putting out their DPM, and indeed Vindictive Michael, the first one to fall in his chieftain here, but now the 907's also start bleeding as they're being crossfired heavily from just about every angle imaginable. The second chieftain biting the dust here, and now the 279 getting deleted as well. So yes, initial damage, initial kills by CSA, and even the 279's overpeaking from the middle onto the chieftains are getting the work done here for CSA currently. The 5th kill coming through.
Yeah, you can see the 907s now hiding behind one 907 that I thought was supposed to go sideways. Looks like he decided to just get into cover behind his buddies. So they're able with the chieftain in the middle to pull back and get some cover. Now the chieftains should be able to remove all 907 pressure there from the 6-line. Sakalito was picked up by one of the 907s in the meantime, but good shooting here by Flirtoman, Hacker, Calder, and Kremelats, and decent HP advantage on top of the very big advantage when it comes to the guns.
Yeah, the problem here for CSA is that their 907s currently are committed. They have no way whatsoever of leaving, and they are pretty low. Kremelats and Lucker are on one-shots respectively, as Dolixor takes another very important shot into his turret. I guess Flirtman as the 2-shot. Oh, another one, and Dolixor actually getting picked up. That is the potential spotting on the 907's gone, and that is very, very crucial. Now CSA not looking to stop here. They're actually starting to push out the one line with all of their chieftains here. Cosmo with the EBR not really providing a spotting screen, but I don't think that's needed, as Seago in the full HP EBR is actually going here. He's making a run for it. They need to get a spot onto the 907's in the corner though.
Yeah, Seago is now the sacrificial lamb to be sent forward. They still have another EBR that is following up. Cosmo, good decision making on sending his buddy first, but Seago, very solid spotting run, still sitting on full HP. And now the 907s in the back, they are both spotted. I mean, if they shield each other, maybe the last one can survive for a bit, but it's triple the HP. CSA has only lost 2 tanks.
Yeah, CSA here with a very good showing. They're now starting to dig out that A3, a 907 that just did fall, and now only Seal Officer in the corner, and CSA in a commanding lead here. Now finally the 3rd kill coming through by Nomi, but they are sitting on only 2k HP, 10k less than what the team in red CSA have available, and Seal Officer now that last pocket of resistance in A1 getting cleaned off. And yes, CSA, they did struggle on Himmelsdorf, but now Slow and Steady does win them the race, and they're going to the finals.
Yeah, and I have to say, this time CSA started their push at like roughly 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes, and that was great. Like, they ended up clearing out this 5-6 line and still had 3 minutes to finish up the rest of the game. So this is really what we like to see, and I hope that in the finals against Slam, they will stay consistent to that and not just fall back to their habit of really waiting out the games for too long.
So, heartbreak for Nomi here, and CSA are able to make it through, showing resilience. Going up to 0 and then having to go to tiebreaker would break some lesser teams, but CSA, the dinosaurs, once again keeping their chances of going to groups alive, barely. And now we have a problem because 3 minutes ago the first final started.
I mean, that's not really an issue, is it? Like, we can just jump into the second round. If you start a prediction
I mean,
now,
it is Ensk, so no, the thing is, I have to wait with starting the prediction until the other one is finished.
Sure. So Gnomi versus Devi, first round over there already. So we can immediately jump into that.
But then they're gonna murder us for
not keeping it with the democracy.
Did they vote for the other game?
They voted Trick versus Tilt.
Unlucky. Okay. Well,
So do we go full Dictatura or?
we can wait this 2 minutes and.
Okay. I mean, it started 4 minutes ago, so, and it's Ensk.
Yeah. So Trick versus Tilt.
Right, so I guess we go to a quick break until.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we have a 1-1 scoreline between Gnomi and Devi, as you can see right now, and a 1-0 scoreline in favor of Tilt, who were defending in the first round against Trick in the match that you wanted to watch. So, yeah, up to 4 more games here between those two teams. CSA versus Slam will obviously start with some delay because the games took a bit longer, but that's not really an issue because the groups will happen with no connection towards each other, so there are no implications for potential opponents that could be manipulated. 3 seconds to the start of the game. 5 E5s from what I can see. 5 E3s from the side of Trick. Bunter again in his all-beloved Jagdpanzer E100. What do you think about the lineups? A lot of chieftains again?
I mean, a very particular thing by Tilt here, only going with 1 TD. Normally what you see on Ensk is a lot more of those.
I think
Yeah, so curious what they want to do.
Trick
Like
played a
Tilt's
lot
lineup.
with 279s in the past, so
Mhm.
maybe they said like, okay, we will bring chieftains that are faster on the green against the 279s of Trick, and the Jagdpanzer E100 will trade positively in the 1-for-1 trades against basically everyone. So far, not a lot of tanks have been spotted, so you can see Victory here being sent forward to spot this 6-7 line approach. So now takes cover behind the train track. Some tanks were spotted, but you can see the 279 and Chieftain on A0 were not. Some HP were lost immediately on the side of Trick, and being the defending team, that might not be so much of an issue, but still down 3k HP immediately might be important at the later stages of the game. Radio Primate together with Tarks and some more chieftains that seem to block each other there. Not sure what happened.
I mean, Tilt's starting a push now through the 8 line. They're pushing 4 279s there to compromise Krea's position. This is answered by Trick by sending Marches and Ice Sunny up. I guess some map control taken for the side of Tilt, but yeah, they are pushed up very far as well in sort of the city area, but they're sending now 2 chieftains to rotate over the A line. And to be honest, like, so far, do you think the Jagdpanzer has paid dividend?
I mean, the Jagdpanzer doesn't really need to immediately do the big damage and the big flanking because those...
Killer Pit taking another shot from an E3, 660. He's down to 958 now. Ow. Basically, the E3's being very good counters, and another E3 shot onto the crossing. Dandly Boying is going to reduce that one to 870. So those, American E-tanks, they are paying dividend right now.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like, Trick was down 3k HP and is now nearly up 3k HP. So if they would have traded a bit better at the beginning, they could have had a significant HP advantage now. In the end, everyone is still on full HP, on full tanks. So 15 tanks on both teams. And with Tilt being on the defending side, I would say those even trades and HPs are usually favoring the defender.
Yeah, but that is if the trades are even. And as you highlighted out, basically Trick had a HP disadvantage. Now they have an HP advantage. So those trades, they just aren't even. As it stands currently. Tarks now trading it out with Samu, both of them one-shot for each other. That is the E3 and the Chieftain, respectively. And Victory is now going to be pulled here together with an Animal Has No Name and Blizzard in the 4-5 line. Trick is looking for that repush here. They're going to find Tarks. He's going to take 1 shot of damage. Radio Primate getting tagged in the side. And now the E3 does peek. Does he get the kill? No, he low rolls, but Radio Primate falls nonetheless. And Tarks one never fair also follows him to the grave. So full on assault here by Trick in the city. Now, meanwhile, on the green, Tilt is forced into a reaction, but Jogro 7 there was set on fire.
Yeah, you can see right now Trick has the HP disadvantage and is the one charging forward there. ASD pushing into 3 tanks there. The crossfire of Best, Spiller, and Mickey Mouse together with Kreia, who is covering his buddies having a bit less HP, worked not out at all. 3 tanks there still standing, and the yellow defense here seems to hold up on the green side, while the push was successfully executed, I would say, in the western part of the map.
Yeah, the push in the city definitely finding success. Bunter got set on fire in his Jagdpanzer too, and now it's just like Dantleyboy pushing in onto Ice Sunny, but he is getting crossfired by Green Mickey Mouse and Kreia. Ooh, both of them on a one-shot, need to be careful regardless, but I think the numbers as well as the HP tell the story of this game very, very well. It's going to be a decisive, a convincing defensive hold for them. They're going to equalize the scoreline.
Yeah, and in the end, like 1-1 on Ensk is fine for both teams, I would say, and obviously fine for us as well, as there will be at least 2 more rounds that we can watch. Now Tilt here having to maybe reduce the time a bit more, but in the end, this game was an attack for them, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, exactly. Sam now on a one-shot here. No one really look. Finally, Green Mickey Mouse does pick him up, and now only Unique and finally Padja here holding up the tilt flag, but getting eradicated, and a 15-0 for Trig, Phil. That would, like, if you're down 0-1 and then you come back 15-0, that must feel good.
Yeah, I mean, clear language, I guess. Very straightforward game. We can take a look at the other results. Maybe we have the second map started on the DV versus Goodnight Nomi game already. No, still scoreline is 1-1.
You know what that also means for the Tilt team?
They might be tilted now.
That as well, but no fame points for them.
Oh yeah, I mean, with not even killing a single vehicle, I mean, definitely no fame points for them. And Bunter here, 4 shots fired, 2 of them missed and another one bounced, so that's a bit of a disappointing result for, like, the, I want to say, standout tank, because usually, like, if you are assigned, like, this specific role of playing a 50B, playing a Batchat maybe on Cliff, or a TVP on Cliff, then you are the one that really has to perform.
You're supposed to have a big impact.
Exactly. Like, we saw players do that. I mean, we had like a 5,300 damage game by Frawley in the TVP on Cliff earlier. And, I mean, Bunter also in other games had already like 3-4k on the Jagdpanzer. But, yeah, now it's just not enough. On Fisherman's Bay, I think he had like 1,150 in one shot of damage. This one was 957, so maybe in E3 would have done better, or an additional 279, you never know, but I guess in a 15-0 defeat, it was not really the fault of a singular tank.
Nah, it was the tactic completely falling apart. So, yeah, both of the semifinals that are already underway on a 1-1, and I think the CSA game started 4 minutes ago. So maybe if we're lucky, that one goes to tiebreaker, and we can cover all of this match and maybe CSA again later.
Yeah. So, the next map, okay, run us through what are we expecting, and Live Oaks on the, well, newly added, changed sites. Is there something that you would highlight at the beginning? Because I think we've seen in the first Clan Rivals, Clan Showdown, some more attack victories, but with Trick and Tens both winning their defenses in the first qualifier where we watched it. Maybe people got to know the maps a bit more?
I guess since it is such a large maps where the points of engagement can be actually out of render distance of each other, the openings matter a lot, right? Because if you send your tanks to one side and the enemy sends the tanks to the other side, you end up in that sort of weird scenario where you need your EBRs to gather information, but at the same time they need to be extra careful to not just get one blapped by 15 guns trained on them. That's not going to be the case this time, though. Two EBRs are going to clash in the north, and actually the side of Tilt are sending 1279 to the window, and everyone else is going south. Same can be said for Trig. They're just sending everyone else towards the southeast corner, so I think we're in for a clash here.
Mehaske and Curry are trying to prevent the respective opponent team from immediately gathering info, but Trig has a heavy commitment prepared here for this flank, and we'll need to see if this will be a clash in favor of the green ground here on top, or on the water push that came on the inner side of the rails.
So both teams now making sure they have an ample amount of tanks here in the southeastern corner already. Unique and trading blows, but I think it's going to just be a free-for-all here as you see two lines of tanks just trading it out with each other. It's going to be down to basically focus fire, and so far not a single tank falling. Make that one as Ice Sunny does fall. Best Spieler also down to a one-shot here, so I guess the focus fire is slightly better for the side of Tilt, but nothing is decided as of yet.
Yeah, I have to say, Tilt overpeaked already before all the tanks from Trig were there, so they had a slight advantage when the last three tanks were still arriving, but now it's a full-on brawl. Killer Pit, they're still out of the game. Another tank is getting Emeract. I see a turret flying there, but so far it looks like Tilt has a slight advantage.
Yeah, Tilt with 3k HP up, the gun's still sort of even, but Tilt ahead there slightly as well, so they're going to have more effective DPM in this one, and as Killerpet and Puppy are finally joining with their 279s, they should be able to focus out from above those singled out tanks from Trig that are low HP here. Still, kills being traded back and forth, but I think the HP advantage now being 4 or 5k here for Tilt should be able to bring it home for them.
So yeah, you can see 4 tanks only left. So good stuff here when it comes to the firepower distribution for Tilt. So I have to really say this was for me the main difference. There were a couple of tanks that were still driving towards this area here while there were overpeaks from both sides happening in both directions. And in the end, like maybe that was the difference of Trig losing out on like 1.5, 2k HP before like the actual big fight with everyone being involved happened.
To be honest, I think the more aggressive overpeak by Tilt at the start, together coupled with better focus fire, just did it for them. And yeah, that's how you win shootouts. Call your targets, penetrate your shots, communicate, and in the end, claim victory. So 2-1 for Tilt here in this game, a very quick 2-1 by the way. Live Oaks normally, or can also be one of those 10-minute maps. Not this time though, as Trig now up against the ropes here. They need to take the next round to even get to tiebreaker. How are the other matches doing? Have a look. So, Goodnight Nomi currently 2-1 over Davy. Remember, you can watch that one over on Killer's stream, which you should find in the chat. And
I think the CSA game just started 8 minutes ago, so that should end pretty soon as well.
It started at 12, so
Yeah,
in 1 minute, maybe
yeah,
if we're lucky, we even see the result.
Exactly. So now we will go for round number 2. As we mentioned, Trig will defend, and we'll need to see if they are able to even out that game as they did on Ensk in a 1-1 score to finalize this second qualifier on Sand River, or if they will go down dirty with a 1-3 scoreline over Tilt and will be kicked out of this tournament.
Okay, so lineup-wise, what do we have? Oh, CSA, first point on the board against the Slam Beyond team. Lineup-wise, well, that's a pretty quick one. WBR 1279 and 12 Chieftains for the side of Trig. So I guess the only question remains is Bunter going to pick the Jagdpanzer again? I hope for the sake of his team that no, but I hope for the sake of the match that yes, because that means we would probably see a tiebreaker.
I mean, the Jagdpanzer on this map might not be the best choice.
I
Maybe
mean, we did see last qualifiers, I think 2685s getting picked.
Yeah, but there is the advantage of having a fully rotatable turret. Definitely a point to consider. And
What do you think trade-off wise? 2685 versus 114 SP2.
well, I feel like the alpha damage might be a thing for certain situations. And I personally feel like the 2, because of the attributes that the tank gives you over the version 5 with better spotting and better camo mechanics, are not really that important if you have EBRs and if you have like a frontline that can peel for you. So
I feel like the ammo might be an argument for the 114 SP2 though, being the quick APCR and good gun handling.
yeah, I would say for sniping they're definitely much better. But yeah, having this gigantic.
How much do you snipe on this map?
I mean, from like G4 or E2, you can give some long range support. Yeah, in the meantime, obviously, we saw same lineup for both teams, double EBR and 279, filled with 12 Chiefs. Coming back to the point, obviously the version 5 has this big heat shells, and hashtag Curry taking a very aggressive approach here through the middle.
And I think
he spotted out like 5 chieftains now, 4 or 5. And most importantly, if Mehaske doesn't leave this area in time, he will get tagged by both Sam. Very good ram. And
that's Mehaske out of the game.
Yeah, so Curry put in 1. I think one of the chieftains from the back put in 1 as well. And Sam with very good decision making. He drops to 500, but that's not an issue because you still have the full HP EBR on your side. And yeah, what we can see here, Trig has to now retreat, giving up a lot of map presence so early in the game. And it's only 1 minute that passed, and it's like 80% of the map basically belongs already to Tilt.
I can't help but shake the feeling that we saw this Trig approach to the defensive side already. This time though, in my opinion, they're doing a better job of tank distributing, having more in the north. They are possibly even going to repush A-line. You think that's a
I think they don't really have enough information for that.
I mean, they're grouping up there like no tomorrow, basically. That bush, obviously a very good one by hashtag Curry. He does spot a lot of rotations, not all of them though.
I mean, Trig knows that they are already very limited when it comes to how they can move their tanks without getting spotted. Obviously, Green Mickey Mouse getting spotted there can submit that info to his buddies. What we saw in the first qualifier, for the people that didn't really watch it, was that the attacking team claimed the area here in the city and then grouped up for a push towards A0, and Trig reacted by utilizing all their tanks and over pushing in a clockwise
and winning the
rotation.
cap race.
So yeah, exactly. So they took some tanks here to just provide some decaps, cleaned out all this area and started the cap. Won by cap and decided that round for themselves. I think that was against Tens. Now we can see Step Pro Infinity here being pushed forwards, and it looks like Victory was double tracked on the ridgeline. Christian Horner tries to give him a shield, but not in time.
Christian Horner mostly tried to put one more shot into Infinity, and he did achieve that. Infinity now needs to be very careful, being a one-shot, and Christian Horner, with the wreck of his dead body to his side, does actually have some sort of shield against the Chieftains from the left, so it all is down to if he has a rep kit still available, and if he wants to commit to the kill here. NK also, light over peak, but yeah, no damage taken.
Yeah, so Trick down 2k HP plus obviously 2 guns, 2 one-shots on the side of Tilt with the EBR. Well, if they are lucky, obviously surviving one shot against an APCR of a Chief or... Oops, good overpeak so far, but yeah, I mean 1300 damage taken in return plus the shot that NK was shielding him. So you trade a gun for roughly 1000 more HP? I guess that could be a fair trade considering that they removed this position, and if Bunter wants to get up there with this Chieftain, he has to pay further HP. They're not ramming each other. I was a bit afraid that the EBR might run into the Chieftain, but yeah, you can see Bunter now driving forward in his Chieftain. Takes another 2 shots. Okay, so the second shot was retaliated, but it looks like Dani, Non-Mistake, and Blizzard are greeting to give Bunter a nice greeting there. Now the overpush is happening. A very nice line of fire, and you can say what you want, but this was a good overpeak. They coordinated it. They didn't block each other. Blizzard and An Animal Has No Name both only took 1 shot, so it doesn't really matter that much because it was very distributed. And yeah, the gun department is evened out again. Trick has
Bunter with that move, more like blunder. Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, Bunter has all the time in the world now to think about what he did wrong and what he can do to still bring his team towards a 3-1 victory. Samu overpeaking a lot there so far, not getting punished, but as I was saying, like, takes a second shot. Hashtag Harry was spotted in return. Marches not able to find a line of fire, but I have to say the time is ticking. 4.5 minutes are left on the clock, and if Tilt is not moving,
I mean, they are sort of shuffling their tanks down towards the south now. They're grouping up. Problem is, if they take the inside, the EBR is likely to spot them, right? And then they will take a lot of damage, and also they will enable Trick to sort of react. Well, that being said, Tilt, they've lost 2 Chieftains, yes, but they're still up in the HP department. Following Radio Primate now, the question is he gonna get spotted? Nope, I don't. Finally, there we go, taking 1 shot by Marches. Marches now is going to give the information what's gonna happen, and that is a lot of Trick tanks, Phil. They are there, and as soon as they notice that it's only 3 tanks in the ditch, they might even go and over-push, because Tilt has a lot of tanks out of the fight that are going through the north right now.
Aizani was set on fire in the meantime by hashtag Carry, and this is not good. The EBR is sitting now on only 31 HP and doesn't really have a lot of cover there, but as you mentioned, they might have realized already that there isn't decent timing, I would say, for an overmatch. An Animal Has No Name and second fire here in a row for Trick. Hashtag who jumped over and picked up the kill now, and as well the cap is in danger. Lali tries to hold down Dandly, so Non-Mistake and Green Mickey Mouse can move forward. The cap has started. Trick still on 3000 HP advantage, and we need to see how they can close it in.
Yeah, indeed, Tilt still with the advantage, and with double cap by the EBRs being started, that is going to be very worrying for Trick here, as also Padger with the Chieftain is standing on the cap, ready to make a shield here. Puppy now dying because he overextended onto Bestspieler in the 279, but Bestspieler in turn now needs to commit in here. He needs to get the spots on the cap, and I don't think he has them currently. 12 seconds on the clock as Bestspieler bites the dust. Now Kreia needs to try and get something done, but Tilt, they're just slaughtering the tanks that are driving back towards the cap.
Yeah, you can see Padger there driving forward, offering his HP to prevent the EBRs from getting spotted. Now one EBR gets spotted, immediately annihilated. But take a look at the HPs. They're already down 6,000 HPs, and the tanks are dropping and dropping. Even if the cap is being stopped now, like, this game is done and dusted.
Yeah, I mean, Unique now providing crossfire here onto the Chieftains by Trig, and also in the southeast there is only Blizzard remaining to do any kind of damage here. Now Christian Horner needs to commit in, does get double tracked, does get annihilated as well, marches down to a 2-shot. Lally just bit the dust, and now Marches follows him to the grave. Dunny and Blizzard, the only 2 guys remaining here for the team of Trick. 20 seconds on the cap, but I think that is not going to matter as Blizzard gets set on fire as well. And now Pika the Hippo could finish him off with one nice high roll, or maybe he did load HE, yes, but Pika, bro, you can just drive around the tank and penetrate his backside. Like, what was that shot?
Yeah, I mean... Okay, that's a 3-1 for Tilt.
That is indeed a 3-1 for Tilt, and I hope we have some more games to show you. I sincerely do, because more tank go boom is more fun.
Okay, so we have some more results. Slam versus CSA is currently on 2-0 for CSA, but there looks like we have a tiebreaker situation between Gnomi and Devi, where we could jump in start in 4 minutes. Yeah.
I guess see you all in like 3 minutes, because I guess we're gonna go to a break.
Yeah, I will just leave the post game stats open if anyone wants to look at that for a moment, and then go to the break screen for like 2 minutes.
All right, here we are back with what will be the last game of the day as CSA just beat Slim 3-0. So this is actually the fight for the last spot in the group stage, which will happen tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in. It's in between a Goodnight Mini and DV Prekursa, I guess. And it is going to happen on Sand River, which also is a map on which the sides are reversed. As you can see, though, Davy, they are going to be defending, means spawning from west. Triple CS, 12 Chiefs, that suggests K-Line Brawl.
Yeah, we have an STRV from the other side, so what do you think about that?
Can be good, can be bad. We'll have to see what Marcel brings this game. 22279 for the side of Goodnight Mini, as well as 1 CS, 1 EBR, and rest Chiefs to round up their lineup. And yeah, you can't see it with the observer mod, but there is already pings going down for the side of DV here on the lower side. So I think they will look for their K-line engagement. The question is, how many tanks are Goodnight Nomi willing to commit towards that southern engagement, or are they going for it at all?
Yeah.
Choose outcome between Trig and Tilt. That's a tilter for Aubrey, I guess. Wait, what?
Well, I guess for Aubrey it's not a tilter because he switched teams already and is now in.
Yeah, but he voted for Trig.
Ah, well, unlucky for him.
Unlucky RNG, and we do actually see some sort of K-line commitment as well by the team here in what is that? Orange, I guess.
Yeah.
DV.
I mean, they're pulling back from that immediately, and we
ooh,
saw
that
a
position
similar
that Killer
thing.
has, that can be very easily countered by taking the middle from Goodnight Nomi, so he needs to be very careful. But yeah, DV, they looked like they were going towards K-line, now they're reshuffling, and those tanks by Goodnight Nomi, if they continue pushing here, they might catch a tank or two by Devi off guard, and also take a look, like Devi has taken so much damage already, while Goodnight Nomi is still standing very strong.
What
Only one
John
shot
is
onto
doing there, like why is he so far forward, completely alone? Now Killer is forced to drive forward, push down Jiki, and the second chieftain might even lose some HP for that. I mean, so far the trade went 1 for 1. He takes a second one to protect his body there, but yeah, a bit of a blunder there by John, and we have to see if Devi really wants to repush this. You can see Savage is now coming towards that, but all those chieftains are set up by now, and as you really like to see it, there is a push from Zuza towards the lower side. We are getting ready for a big brawl.
Indeed, a big brawl, and Killer, the first one to fall as the engagement actually starts here. Reinforcements pouring in for the orange team, for the team of Devi, that are actually looking to make an overpush here onto the outnumbers tanks of Goodnight Nomi. They need to try to get some support in from somewhere, from where I do not know, though, as Jiki is the next one to fall here. The tanks by Goodnight Nomi starting to drive in towards the middle to get that support from their tanks in the middle, but that is another kill picked up. Magic Haze now biting the dust, and Devi, they just need to make their superior numbers here count and take out the guns that Goodnight Nomi has. They're doing a good job. 3 kills in a row for Devi. Is it enough is the question.
Yeah, now you can see the gun advantage is in favor of Devi. Only 3 tanks lost so far. They lost for Real, who is in the middle, but the STRV of Goodnight Nomi is farming from the middle there. Marcel is putting one shot after the next one, and now we have a lot of tanks there on like very low HP for DV, so they have to be careful that Remy goes Tommy to stay in the fight. Tito's dropping to 700 as well now, so the gun advantage is no longer such a big problem if you can like eliminate those tanks, like Ghost dropping, Remy dropping, and then Goodnight Nomi could really get a grip onto that game with Shifter here being on 60 HP, being picked up by Carol now, so Gnomi has to really make their 4k HP worthwhile, considering that the STRV is holding a significant share of it.
Yeah, exactly. And Nomi, they have sort of established control over the northern side of the map. They will have crossfire positions available. Devi now starting to take the K-line here to also get some more angles. The question is, how much of that are they going to convert into damage and possibly even kills?
Wait, Savage is spotted, but crossing here, that doesn't look like it's a good idea. He makes it without taking one from Marcel. So Davy also has the issue right now that everywhere they want to play, there will be Hull on STRVs, Hull on Chiefs, and 279s with a CS. That's not necessarily how you want to structure your fight, and Goodnight Nomi really has to think about if they can pressure the cap circle. If that's an option for them, then obviously they can force Davy into fighting them, or alternatively, if they can outspot with a combination of the STRV and the EBR.
Yeah, I think both sides right now scrambling to get a plan together for the last 5.5 minutes of this game here. As we already mentioned, basically, Goodnight Nomi, they somehow need to make their... ooh, is he going to get a shot in? As he does. Nice snipe by Miku with HE. And, ooh, it's even going to be Marcel with the STRV picking it up. So, yeah, Goodnight Nomi with their limited amount of guns. Not so limited anymore now. First of all, they're just down 2 tanks, but yeah, they need to make that HP work for them. They need to generate positional advantages to convert that into kills and force Davy to make some bad plays with their tanks that, well, some of them are very, very low. 81 HP only on Remy. So, yeah, Goodnight Nomi, it's on to them to make something happen because they're the attacking team as Davy chose defense.
Actually, it's the other way around. Gnomi picked attack.
Oh, Gnomi picked it. What? Why would you pick attack in a tiebreaker?
On Sand River, maybe they feel like the stronger side, starting from the east, is giving them enough of an advantage so that they don't need the time on their side.
Well, now the time is ticking against them. You can see Pablo and Carol now. Carol in full HP still. They're starting to make some peeks here to maybe even Proxy Kurana and Maestro Brzina, or what's his name? Obviously they can't overcommit, but yeah, now Camilo in the 279 also getting pulled. That is 2.8k HP that will be joining the fight here very, very soon, and 3 guns together coupled with a fire from the middle. I think Goodnight Nomi, they have decided that they just search for the hard-on engagement here and just gamble it with the HP. Sokol now even driving through the open to join this fray. Not spotted yet. I think this is not looking good for DV here currently.
So yeah, I think this night now will be the most important fight of this end stage of the game, and you can see very well done by Camilo, Pabux, and Carol. They're taking
Sokol
cover
is going
here,
to be crucial.
And 2 tanks down, Davy on half the HP of Gnomi now with even tanks. There was no way for them to really support Kurana there, and good stuff here, coordinated approach by the team in blue.
Miku
the
picks
EBR
up another one.
circling in, and you can see all those CS63s there. They're not really able to retaliate shots against the Halvan chieftains.
Yeah, exactly. And now Nomi, that was exactly what they needed, picking up 2 tanks in quick turn and even the EBR netting another kill. Yeah, Divi, they're pinned down basically because the STRV is just going to watch every move they make. And now the cap has been started. Pabu in his chieftain in there, Miku getting pulled on towards the cap as well. Divi, they don't have an answer on towards Sokol because he gets covered by a CS and an STRV. It's dire moments, and I don't think Divi has the comeback potential here. They just don't have the tanks, they don't have the HP anymore.
Yeah, also like Harbor with 1400 HP on the other side of the map is basically holding a third of their HP. And at this point, I think Davy is just driving in. They know that this game is over. They know they can't survive it for 2.5 more minutes. Even though there is maybe a chance of a decap towards the Chieftain, it's just over. The game is...
It's just over, yeah. Magic Duck even accepting to get rammed by Sokol here, only Remy and Ghost remaining, and the cap indeed goes through. So Goodnight Nomi are going to be our confirmed 8th participant of the group stage, joining CSA and Tilt that basically made it today, plus the 3 teams from before, plus the pre-qualified Invil and Raid teams. So I guess, Phil, it's time to just quickly recap what happened today in the groups, and then in the qualifiers, and then we can do the group draw.
Exactly. So as we just saw, CSA won very, very clear 3-0 over Slam Beyond, who started with a good run, 3-0 against All In and Daily. I will quickly change.
By the way, 6k damage by Marcel in his STRV.
Yeah, so I can wait first. I guess I can quickly show that for you. So 6k damage here, I guess you get rammed by the EBR in the end or something like that. By the STOV. Some damage dealt here by the Chieftains, but also the CS, good stuff. Miko, 2,500 spotting. But in the end, I guess the most interesting part will be the group draw. That will follow up now. So yeah, as I mentioned, CSA coming from Group 1. We have Gnomi, who just won over Devi 3-2. And Tilt in a 3-1 fashion over Trick on Live Oaks, securing their spot as well. I prepared a overview for you here already. Invil and Raid were invited already at the beginning. Copium, Tense, and Pijor Aboba made it in Quali 1. And as we just said, CSA, Tilt, and Gnomi are the 3 teams that will follow them. So we will have Raid and Invil definitely distributed over Group A and Group B. This is because obviously they are starting. They're starting from the group stage, and they're basically the top seeds of Group A and Group B. Copium, Tense, Pijor, Aboba, CSA, Tilt, and Gnomi will be distributed over the other 6 slots in Group A and B. We will do it starting in Group A and then go back and forth. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this is obviously the remaining slot. I will just take some random picker of our choice. I don't know. I think this one worked out pretty well last time. Copy over all the teams.
Production value through the roof once again.
Exactly. So as you can see,
Piora Boba should be one line, no?
Yep. As you can see, we are very well prepared. The first team that will be picked is Goodnight Nomi, the last team to qualify, the first team to be picked. So that's Goodnight Nomi here in the slot of Group A. I can just copy it over like this so it's a bit more readable. They will be removed from the group draw here. And we will shuffle again. This will be, well, done over and over again until there is only one team left. If either Invil or Raid get picked, the opponent will be in the other group. CSA joins Goodnight Nomi in Group 1. So Tens will be in Group 2. Invil and Raid still not distributed, so this can be removed and this can be removed. Copium is the...
Why did you remove Piora Boba?
Wait, why did I remove? I only wanted to remove this one. Okay, so Copium being
Bottom left.
here. That means that last remaining non-first seed team gets in here, and the team
now you may remove Piora Boba.
Exactly. And yeah, the team that is being picked now will end up in Group A, and the second team will be in Group B.
The suspense, leaving the seeded teams.
Okay, so Raid will join CSA, Copium, Goodnight Nomi in Group A, and Invil will join Tilt, Tense, and their buddies from Aboba in Group B. That's all for today. Key, you will have the last word. We will be back tomorrow around 6 o'clock CEST, so 2 hours later than today. Hope everyone enjoyed, and it's your time to shine, Key.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. You already took the words out of my mouth by saying come tomorrow.
Good. Then, yeah, listen to what he said and have a great evening.